a psychic connection. I was thinking to myself the other day of the people. I've been going through books and of all the names of the people we've had on the show and the tapes, and some of the people I really liked. And one of the people that I really enjoyed meeting and I respect and I'm very fond of is my next guest, Bret the Hitman Hart. I think he's a pretty amazing guy. He was 5-time world champion with the World Wrestling Federation. Not long ago, he left them to join a growing number of stars under the banner of the new WCW. He is an Alberta boy. He's become an internationally famous Canadian, and I think he's a really fine man. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the Bret the Hitman Hart. Well, nice to see you.
You got a hug after three times being on here.
Nice chairs, huh? Comfy?
Yeah, they are.
I was reading your bio. You know, you really have done incredibly well. You made us proud as Canadians, and I know your family's proud of you. You must be really proud of yourself. You've got a really fine career that you've wrestled out of the world. You know.
Well, you know, when I look back on everything, it's like amazing to think that you know, when I got into wrestling, that I've done all these other things. You know, like when I did Lonesome Dove, and
you did a lot of Lonesome Dove.
I did a lot of things I never ever imagined or dreamed would ever happen, and you know, I guess I owe it all to wrestling. So.
I don't know how many of you know this, but this is a man from a wrestling family. 8 kids in wrestling?
Well, I mean, in my dad's family, I think everybody. I come from a family of 12, so 14 including my mom and dad, and I'm sure they wrestle enough.
Geez, they had to get 12 kids, you know, right there.
Yeah, you're not kidding. I think everybody did it. I mean, I think all 12 in one way or another was involved with wrestling, either doing it or marrying wrestlers or something, you know.
I remember from talking to you, it always stayed with me, is that in the home there was downstairs, there was like people, you go down and people would just be throwing each other around.
Yeah, it's affectionately referred to as the dungeon.
Yeah.
My dad has this basement with sort of an old grungy old mat that I don't think anyone's ever actually washed or scrubbed or anything. But he used to take these big football players and weightlifters and people and just take them down there. I can remember being really small, just going down there and
watching Dad throw the guests around.
Yeah, I could just sit and watch, and he'd be, you know, even then my dad was like 50 and 60, and he was torturing these guys like Angelo Mosca and you know, just making them scream like the high notes, you know, the real high notes. And then when you're safe when you're like 7, 8, 10. When you get to be about 15, you don't go down there anymore. It's
okay, Dad, I gotta go out here for a while.
Let me show you this one.
I heard a wonderful analogy of what wrestling is all about. And Mr. Steve Allen, a man who invented talk shows, and really a brilliant man, did this voice, wrote a documentary about it and said, yeah, of course it's like, it's fixed. Of course it's a performance. But that's what we do nowadays. We no longer throw people to lions. We have this incredible art form of entertainment, which are these superheroes that go out. And you become, I was reading about how in Germany, you were in the cover of some magazine, they got like 20,000 letters. It's like the world loves you as a superhero.
Well, I know when I was in Germany, I beat out Boris Becker as the sports hero of the year.
Whoa.
I beat him out 4 times in a row.
Now that's amazing, a wrestler to achieve that. Wrestlers have gone in a very short period of time from not much to this big thing.
Well, I think it's finally reached a point where, you know, I think for years we've been sort of desperate for some kind of respect. You know, we've always sort of been dissed on sports shows, or like, for example, we never really ever got credit for being great actors, ever. And we never ever got credit for being great athletes. Yeah. When in fact, I think some of the best of us are great actors, you know, because there's a certain kind of acting involved in wrestling that you can't really explain. We don't have lines necessarily where we speak, but we memorize, just like, you know, like in comparing what I did on, say, Lonesome Dove. Remembering what I had to remember in a wrestling match was much harder than any script I ever had to deal with.
Wait a minute, what do you have to, I'm like, I don't know anything about this. What do you have to remember?
Let me put it this way, if you don't remember when to duck, you're in big trouble.
Wham! Oh, damn, I should have got
And then it happens. But we never, you know, and the other side of it is, so they talk about the athleticism in wrestling. You don't get credit for being a great athlete, but to pick somebody up and slam them down on the ground and then say to jump up in the corner and to jump off when you jump off that corner, you're dealing with somebody who's probably got some kids, he's got a wife, and you got to land on this person. And wrestling fans don't pay to see somebody miss. Like when you miss somebody by that much, they moan like, oh, that's fake.
They want it.
They want real wrestling, and you have to land on these guys, and you have to follow each other and hurt each other all the time. And there's an incredible amount of athleticism to be that. The precision involved in landing on someone and not hurting them really badly at the same time, you have to land on them and you have to make contact.
How precise did you have to be when you went and smacked that guy who ran WWF in the jaw and really hit him hard, eh? Who was that you whacked?
That was Vince McMahon.
You and your... Now what happened? You got
just so you know, they've sort of based their whole storyline, their entire show's based around this sort of theme that everyone hits Vince McMahon. But
right.
they've kind of tried to blend that what I did was just part of the show too, but that's not true. I drilled Vince McMahon one time for real and knocked him out cold and broke my hand in 3 places here.
You were so angry because they double-crossed you, which is there's a documentary coming out called Wrestling with Shadows. Bret Hart, 5-time champion of World Wrestling Federation, one day before the most important fight in his life. You were double-crossed. They treated you really badly.
Yeah. Well, I worked 14 years for him. I missed... well, I didn't miss any shows, really. I missed 2 shows, I think, in 14 years. I worked sometimes anywhere from 280 to 300 days a year. I basically killed myself for this man and his company. And in the very, very end, the last 30 days I worked for him, he was just so hell-bent on sort of destroying my character and my image. And kind of in his way, he tried to do that to me on my last day at work. They rang the bell on me in my match and said that which was done just sort of as an insult. They had the guy put me in my hold, and I was just basically in the midst of getting out of it, and they just rang the bell on me and said I gave up, which to me was so tacky. Like, it was just such a cheap...
Gets back to that word you're talking about, a little respect here after the 14 years I gave you, please?
Yeah, exactly.
Let me leave gracefully?
And he basically went against his word. He lied so much to me. In the last year that I worked with him, and there's a very long story that comes out in the documentary, but I don't know of very many athletes that would have turned down the huge money that I had from the WCW to stay loyal to the WWF. And you look at
how much money did you turn down?
I turned down over half the money. I could have doubled my money by leaving. I stayed, and in that time when I stayed, they did everything they could to destroy my character, including I became this huge American basher, and. Which I kind of had some fun with that because I kind of could, at the time with the Donovan Bailey thing, it was kind of fun. And then they were leading me into this racist thing where we want you to become a racist. And I said, I really don't want to do that. I'm not comfortable with, I can go with the American Canadian, kind of have some fun with it, bashing Americans. My mother's American. She wasn't too happy about that. But I was having a little bit of fun with that. But when they wanted me to go into the racist thing, and if you watch that show now, they've gone to such a raunchy level. I said it a year ago, and I say it even more so now. I don't let my kids watch it. It's not family viewing anymore. And I've always believed that wrestling's something that your grandfather and your 3-year-old son should be able to go to a wrestling match anytime they want to and see.
Be entertained.
Yeah, it's supposed to be a family show. It was when I grew up.
You're now with WCW, which is going to be in the Sportsnet every Thursday at 8 to 10, starting October the 15th. And I want to tell you, I'm a great fan of yours. I'm a great admirer of your talent.
Thank you.
And if you're looking for RESPCT, you can get it right here.
All right. I hope you'll see the documentary. It'll be a really good documentary.
Oh, yeah. Look at this documentary on Wrestling in the Shadows, okay? WCW is going to be on Sportsnet every Thursday. I just said that, 8 to 10. Starting October the 15th. With Bret, the Hitman Hart.